So I went to the Reopen California protest today up in Sacramento. It's May 1st right now. And I went to the one about 10 days ago. When I got back from the one about 10 days ago, I put together a video of it. If you're interested in seeing that, breakingyourchains.com, go to the YouTube tab on it. But I came back today and I was planning on putting together a video of this one as well. But I saw some stuff online right now and I was just like, holy cow, I got to do something totally different. First thing before we get into this, what I want to say is there was a difference between the last protest and this protest. As far as the amount of people that showed up, I was thinking, well, maybe there'll be a little less because of attrition. You know, people go to the last one, they figure, well, I already went to one, so I'm not going to go to this one. Just the opposite was true. It was a dual type protest. You had cars that were driving around the Capitol building, honking their horns, waving flags, waving signs, and so forth. The amount of people that were here this time were about the same as the amount of people that were at the protest 10 days ago. However, there were people on foot about 10 days ago, and the number of people that were there this time on foot were greatly larger than the amount that were there 10 days ago. The other thing I noticed right off the bat that really shocked me was the police presence there. The police presence was like ridiculous, like through the roof, ridiculous. When I was there 10 days ago, the police were there. They were as if they would be for any large event. They were controlling traffic. They were in little clusters on the corner here and there where the people were gathering on the courthouse steps. They were there as well. But when I saw the police this time, it was like, oh my God, something is going down. They had, I can't even tell you how many police. It looked like there were hundreds of police. They lined all the way around the Capitol building. They had police on the roof. They had actually 4 snipers up on the roof. Saw the gun at one time. Now, I'm going to make it really clear. They weren't like hanging their guns over the side. They had them up there with them. They were doing video recording. I will say that my first impression on the police officers when I said, oh my God, something's going down, isn't what I saw at all. What I saw were a whole lot of police officers doing their job, not interfering with anybody. They weren't wearing masks. They weren't wearing riot gear. They weren't even social distancing. They were keeping an eye out for everything, but they almost seemed to agree with what the protesters were doing. They were not getting in the way. As a matter of fact, I actually talked to one of the officers for probably about 10 minutes. And I said, how you guys feeling about this stuff? And he said, well, you know, my 2 kids are out of school. My wife lost her job. He goes, all us cops are in this whole thing just like all you guys. It's impacting our lives as well. And there are some for it and there are some against it. But as a general rule, he was saying he thinks that most of the people were for the protesters' right to protest. So that's what I saw. And then we left. I got there around 12. I left around about 2 o'clock. And then I come home and I look online and I see some pictures of police that were arresting some people. And I'm like, that's not how they were dressed when we were there. And then I look up the news story. Well, what did the news do? And I see this Channel 13 news story here. And I decided what I have to do is almost a rebuttal to this news story, because what this news story showed and the things they're talking about and what they're saying happened was not how it went down at all. So let's actually start this news story and let's go through this thing. First off, I'm going to pause this here. Take a look at all the police officers around here. They're all wearing riot gear. They're all wearing face shields and so forth. They weren't like that all day.
A reopening revolt at the state
riot gear.
Protesters push back against the governor's stay-at-home order. Some even.
This one's wearing a mask under the helmet.
Been cuffed by CHP. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Friday. I'm Tony Lopez.
And I'm Adrienne Moore. We have live team coverage for you this evening. We begin with CBS 13's Laura Hafley, live at the Capitol. And Laura, we understand you just got some updated information about arrests. What can you tell us?
Pay attention to this newscaster, by the way. She's sitting there wearing a surgical mask. Nobody in sight, like literally nobody for miles around. She's got her mask on. I'm going to get back to this type thing in a second here. riot gear.
That's right. 33 protesters arrested and given citations by the CHP for two things: violating the public health order and protesting on Capitol grounds. Now, it's very quiet now. This is certainly not what it looked like earlier today.
Arrested for violating a public health order, the social distancing thing, and protesting on Capitol grounds.
California Highway Patrol pushing protesters off the Capitol grounds and onto the streets of Sacramento. The ones who did not comply ending up in handcuffs. And again...
Okay, so now she just said, first she said they were arrested for violating social distancing and protesting on public policy. Then she just said the police officer pushed people off the public grounds and onto the streets and arrested the people that did not comply. So did they get arrested for violating a public health order, or did they get arrested for not going off the grounds when asked to go off the grounds?
Given a citation, we spoke to CHP, who say they expected protesters to be here with the assumption that they would stay inside of their vehicles. Now, that did not happen, again, landing demonstrators in cuffs.
Now, I want to clarify what she said right there. They expected protesters to be there with the assumption that they would stay inside their vehicles. Now, last week, I would say about 10 days ago, it was the same type thing, a dual protest, and also on the Capitol grounds. Now, she makes it sound like as soon as people went on the public grounds, they started arresting them for violating that order for not staying in their vehicle. I want to show you something here. Let's go here. This is what it looked like the whole time I was there. Okay, so people were standing in that area the whole time, and they weren't arresting anybody the entire time I was there. This is what it looked like when I was there. I was there for, let's say, roughly 2.5 hours. So it's not like the police suddenly went, oh my God, look at these people. They're on the steps. Let's arrest them. This whole area was going on. It was a very peaceful protest. Now, there was a difference between this time and last time, because 10 days ago, it was like a love fest as far as peaceful protests are concerned. I mean, my daughter's into, well, she used to be when she was younger, into cosplay and going to Comic-Cons and stuff, and I would go to those conventions with her on times, and those were just like embrace love fest. That's what it was like 10 days ago. Today was a peaceful protest, but you could definitely tell that people were getting tired of it. Although it was a peaceful protest, you could definitely tell people were upset and they've had enough of this stuff. So this is what the court building looked like all day long, and the police were doing nothing. They were doing nothing. The cars were still going around in the street. I want to show you, this lady actually gave a speech for about 20 minutes out of the back of the car right here. And you saw the police in riot gear. The news doesn't show how the police looked all day long, but I'm going to show you right now. Here's a picture of the police. They lined the whole area. None of them are wearing riot gear. None of them are wearing face shields. None of them are wearing masks. You could tell they had the option to wear masks because maybe like 1 out of every 20 cops you'd see, look, here's a guy with a mask over here. Like 1 out of every 20 cops would have a mask. And let me show you this video here a little bit. I'm going to take you down here. So, not to rat out the cops, but I do want to show you, this is not what the news showed. Police officers, no masks, no riot gear, no social distancing, and they were acknowledging what the protesters were doing. And they had no problem with what the protesters were doing. And you can see they're letting the protesters protest. Having conversations, friendly conversations too, because there was like zero hostility all day. I started to walk behind the guy. I said, oh, can I go up there? No, because they don't want people on the courthouse steps. So I said, okay. He even said, I don't think you can hear it. He goes, there's an alley right down here. You can walk down there, though. It looks pretty clear. So this is what I saw all day. I saw a relationship between the police officers and the crowd that was mutually respectful. I saw a very peaceful demonstration. Let's go back to the news story.
I have no idea. I hope they have enough room in the jail. Oh wait, they do. Oh, we not move back.
See this lady right here, this news reporter? Pay attention to her because we're going to get back to her in a second. But now, when they show the police on the news, surgical masks, riot gear, face shields.
They're violating my rights to protest.
Out of the 33 protesters arrested, only one was taken to Sacramento County Jail.
Laura, thanks. CBS 13's Marissa Perlman is also at the Capitol live for us, continuing our coverage. Marissa, how's it looking from your end?
So here's Marissa. I think they said, yeah, Marissa Perlman. Here's Marissa on TV in her designer mask that, as you'll see in a second, can't even stay on her face. There's nobody anywhere around her. Her mask, she's got her mask on. Let me show you something. Because here's how she looked when the camera wasn't rolling. They didn't give two craps about wearing her mask. She's got that mask on right now with nobody around and everybody's gone. And here is how she and her cameraman walked around all day. You can tell she doesn't even wear the mask because it falls off her face in the middle of the recording. It doesn't even fit her. Let's go back to the news story.
Yeah, well, this was certainly the most intense protest, the most intense day at the Capitol we've seen since this shelter-in-place order took effect. Pretty quiet at this hour, but certainly different. Just about an hour or two ago, demonstrators stormed the west steps of the Capitol.
Demonstrators stormed the steps of the Capitol.
Clashing with police.
Clashing with police. And then they showed this. So what really happened was you had a peaceful protest going on all day long. The police were not in their riot gear. At some point they decided, okay, the protest has gone on long enough, and the police came out. I don't know if it was for the news story or what, but they put their stuff on. They backed people up to the street. Off the Capitol steps, the people that did not back up were arrested for not backing up. It's time to go home. At some point, I don't blame the police. You got to go home. But the point is, the story makes it try to seem like the protesters rushed the Capitol steps and the police came out in their riot gears and were tackling people and taking them down. Not at all what happened. As you saw from my footage, there was no rushing. There was a peaceful protest going on all day long.
Yeah, many of those protesters holding American flags, calling for the economy to reopen. Now, this demonstration started off peacefully, but by noon, about 500 cars and
started off peacefully, but by noon. Okay, I got there at noon. The protest was scheduled from noon to 2 o'clock. That was the time frame for it. I was there at noon. I was there at noon till maybe a little bit after 2, and it was completely peaceful the entire time.
Motorcycles, buses, all circling the Capitol, honking horns, waving flags. These are people from all walks of life across our area. We spoke with some moms calling for schools to reopen, others from rural areas who want to just get back to work, all feeling the fatigue of this pandemic.
Friends around me, they've lost 95% of their revenue. I'm a 40-year-old guy, I'm a doctor, I'm a former Marine, got 2 kids, and it's fascinating to see 700 SWAT and police officers out here.
I don't have a job. I'm a bartender. My bar is closed. My father-in-law and my husband here, they are hang gliding pilots and instructors. And with all the county parks closed, they're out of work too. We just want to go back to work.
just a few reasons what brought people out here.
Watch the mask fall off her face.
Protesters were not permitted here on the Capitol lawn. Despite that, more than 500 people showed up, got out of their cars, and started protesting here on the lawn, closed down streets all around the Capitol and the building as well. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, certainly a busy...
By the way, when you wear masks, they really make you touch your face all the time, and they're not even proven effective at all to do anything.
Today, they're at the Capitol. Marissa, thanks so much.
So that's what the news said today happened, and I'm letting you know what really happened. By the way, let me show you, since I got you here, I'll show you a video of...
Treat them all as if they're hot and energized.
Really? You're going to go to commercial on me now? Okay. Here's what a little bit of the car protest looked like. That's an awesome dude. That cracked me up. He says, Gavin needs a beach day. He says, I need a beach day. Feels great to be out of the house in the sunshine. Car protesters. Okay, here we go. This was for miles around the courthouse. Again, all peaceful. And it wasn't, I should say that unless you needed to get to the courthouse, which it's closed, right? This didn't impede anybody's ability to get anywhere. They weren't blocking major thoroughfares. This was going in a large circular block around the courthouse. Anyway, just got to clear that up. I hope you enjoyed it.